Welcome. I'm Carl Frederick, and I will be interviewing individuals for Kenosha Voices, an oral history project of the Kenosha County Historical Society in conjunction with Kenosha Community Media. I have worked in newspapers for more than 40 years as an editor and a reporter. 38 and a half of those years were at the Kenosha News. I am also a member of the Kenosha County Historical Society Board. We hope you enjoy these programs. I'm speaking with Bob Ibsen, longtime member of the Danish Brotherhood and manager of the organization for 30 years.
30 years, right.
Welcome, Bob. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, when did you join the organization and how long have you been a member?
Well, I joined when I was a teenager. I was 16 years old, and then the service called me, and I went into service for 21 years, so I had to break away from the Danish Brotherhood, unfortunately, and then when I came back, then I became very active, got back into the lodge, and 55 years later, I'm still a member.
What year did you get out of the service?
1967.
Okay.
I got out as a chief petty officer.
Okay. Now, the Danish Brotherhood had been in existence for quite a while. When was it founded?
1882 was the time that it started. And then we were meeting at Kenosha was meeting at a downtown above a drugstore in the square downtown. And then in 1910, they decided that they would build a building. And the Danes, all the Danes in the club built the building on 63rd and 22nd Avenue.
Okay. And what was the style of the building?
The style was a Danish style building. It had no structural walls. There were hardwood trusses on the roof. And we had to take very good care of those because that kept the building up.
Okay, so you said that originally the club, the organization, was for Danish men only.
Yes, right.
Okay. And how long was that the case?
Well, I think that was for probably 50 years or so. And then, of course, we had a lot of Danes in Kenosha at that time, same as Racine, but we kept it going with the Danes. But then we kind of ran out of them, so we had to open it up to a membership.
Okay, so a Danish man would come to the Brotherhood and he would say, I'd like to be a member.
Right.
And what would you tell them, or would he be told?
Well, we tell them that it was a nice fraternal organization. You did have to take insurance at that time when they first started it. Later on, they did away with having to do the insurance, and you could become a social member then.
Okay. What kind of insurance was it?
This was life insurance.
Life insurance,
yeah.
Okay. So, what do you remember of some of the things that the club would do?
Well, we had a lot of activities. We belonged to the Midwest District of the Danish Brotherhood, which comprised of several lodges in the area. Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, South Bend, Chicago, Rockford, quite a few of them. And we would attend a lot of the social activities with them. And they would come to our lodge for social activities. We had all kinds of things. We had golf, we had bowling, we had target shoot, trap shoots, a lot of things like that.
Okay, so it was also a very social organization.
Yeah,
as well
that's
as
what it
fraternal.
basically was with social. And of course, like you say, they had to take the insurance at that time to begin with.
And the organization, as Kenosha's ocean port was used, were there Danes who worked on some of these ships that came into the harbor and they'd come to the Brotherhood?
Yeah, years ago, that's was part of it. They would invite these people that were on ships from Denmark to come and visit and socialize at the Danish Brotherhood.
Okay. You were also a charitable organization. Very much a charitable organization?
Oh yes, yes.
Okay.
We any nonprofit or regular or fundraising organization that wanted to use our hall, we welcomed them with open arms all the time because our hall was available and we never charged them for anything.
Okay. And did you raise funds for certain things?
Well, we did raise funds for the Boys and Girls Clubs, Salvation Army, several other ones, and then we raised funds to bring groups over from Denmark. One of the groups was a band of girls who marched in the parade here in Racine and Kenosha. That was quite an undertaking for us to bring them over here, and then that's when we had the Viking ship from Hanson's in Racine that we decorated, and we had them right behind the band, and lo and behold, we won first place that year.
Oh, they were a marching band then?
Yes, they were. Yeah, girls marching band.
And
They played at Ruther High School, and then they did, like I say, they marched in the Kenosha Civic Parade that year.
and they would stay with members of the Brotherhood then? or
Yes,
the
we
sisterhood?
put them up at our different homes.
Okay. What other types of activities or other groups that maybe he came to perform entertaining around town?
From Denmark?
Yes.
Well, we had another big undertaking was we brought a gymnastic team over, and they performed at Bradford, and we drew quite a crowd for that one. And then we had a harmonic group, we had a choral group, whatever they had available and they wanted to bring over, we tried to get them here.
Okay. And what kind of fundraisers did you host to get the money to bring these groups over from Denmark or to perform some of your charitable?
Well, our basic fundraiser every year was our Danish Abelskiver and Medisterpils breakfast. That's round pancakes with Danish sausage and kringle and coffee. And we would draw anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people on a Sunday to come up, and that's how we raised our money.
And that was one time a year you did that?
Once a year, yeah.
Okay. Was there another fundraiser that you would have dealing with food during the course of a year?
I can't think of any others.
Codfish or anything like that?
Yeah, that was our main one.
Okay. Okay, you mentioned at one point in our earlier conversation that the Brotherhood owned property on Lily Lake.
Yes, they used that for their summer picnics every year, and they owned that for quite a few years, yeah. In fact, they had an outdoor wooden bowling lane out there, which was unusual outside, and the children really enjoyed it out there with the beach and everything.
Is this something that was done occasionally throughout the summer? Or?
Oh yes, yes, yes. We would use it quite a bit.
So when you remember the club in the 60s and 70s, what was your membership?
Well, at one time we were all the way up to 500.
What year was
500
that?
members. When I joined, there was about 120 members, and 12 only coming to the meeting, so it was down quite a bit. So I tried my best to get it going better,
Okay.
and I was there for 30 years.
Do you remember what year that you opened up the Brotherhood to others?
I probably would be in the 50s.
Okay. And then anyone from any ethnic group could become a member.
Right, just had to have a member sponsor them, yes.
Okay. And then they'd be a social member.
Yeah, a social member if they wanted. If they could get the insurance if they wanted.
They choose. Okay.
We had all ethnic groups. My best friend who grew up with, when I was 5 years old, was Senator Joe Andrea. I got him to join.
You sponsored him then.
From that, here comes Mayor Antaramium and Jim Cruiser and Bob Wirch, which he kind of twisted their arms and they came into the lodge.
Oh.
And they're still in.
Oh, okay. So, how many members do you have now?
We have 170 right now. We're a little bit down because of course, this destruction of our building kind of hurt us. So we haven't been recruiting any new members until we get back to being active again.
So the destruction or the burning of the building came in 2020 during the
during the
civil-
riots, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And did this fire start on the 22nd Avenue side or where?
They threw a firebomb through the. We had a mattress store in the front of the building, and they threw a firebomb through the glass window, and that started it, and it just went from there.
Okay.
Speaking of the tenants that we've had, we had Bernanke's drugstore in there for 40 years. He was a good tenant of ours. And right next in the same building was Nielsen's bakery, good Dane of ours, was in part of it. When he left, then Bernanke's took over the entire building.
So you've always had tenants on that first
Yes,
floor
well, that
facing?
helped with the finances.
That helped pay off your mortgage?
Right.
Right. So when did you pay off the mortgage on the building?
Oh gosh, that was before I was there.
Oh, okay.
That was,
That was pretty good to pay it off so soon, huh?
yeah.
How'd you pay for it?
Well, they had some slot machines in the building that kind of helped out. And yes, lo and behold, that took care of the mortgage.
Well, you weren't the only one, I'm sure, who had
No,
slot machines. And how did you manage to keep them away from the police department?
Well, when we was a raid or anything, we would get a phone call from a Dane down in the police department who was an officer down there, and he would give us a signal, they're coming, so you better hide them. So that's what we would do.
Were there any other offices that you've held in the Brotherhood, national offices or anything?
Yeah, well, I was, of course, president of the local, but then I was fortunate enough to be in San Diego at a convention, a national convention. I was on the national board, and I served on the national board for 20 years, and eventually I became, for 4 years, the national president of the Danish Brotherhood in America, which was in Omaha, Nebraska. And from that, fortunately, my wife and I traveled all over the country and Canada, visiting lodges and spreading the word on Danish heritage. And from that, I was fortunate enough to be knighted by the Queen of Denmark in 1988, and that took place at the lodge, and the ambassador from Chicago came and bestowed the knighthood on me.
So she wasn't there to give you the award, but she sent a message through the ambassador to present?
Oh yes, I got a letter from her, yes.
Okay. So now you're called Sir Robert, is that right?
Well, that's what they call me, yes.
Okay. Now, I never knew that the Danish were as plentiful in Kenosha, as much as Racine always seemed to be the place of most of the Danes in the area, but that's not true, is it?
No, it's not. There were more, of course, in Racine, but Kenosha had quite a few, yeah.
And it's actually continues on longer than the Racine Lodge itself.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Racine Lodge went bankrupt several years ago, and there is no. And we took over a lot of their members and put them in our lodge. Most of the lodges are up in the northern part of the country, where the Danes felt more comfortable when they came over on the boat. You know, the Minnesota and North and South Dakota and Illinois and Michigan and California have a lot of lodges, but we don't have any in the south.
More of a similar climate to back home, is that maybe?
Oh, I think so, yes. Oh, yes, Denmark, when I was over there, was the same climate as ours here. I spoke in Denmark, by the way, at their, on July 4th of every year, they celebrate our independence in a, like Washington Bowl, you know. There's 10,000 people come to this every year, and they have a major speaker there. And I spoke there for the Danish Brotherhood. So the year I was there, the main speaker was Edsel Ford from Ford Company.
Do you speak Danish?
No, I don't.
Anything else that you can remember about your days in the Brotherhood? Any interesting events and interesting people? Things that happened. You mentioned some of the social members as Bob Wirch and John Antaramian and Jim Cruiser.
Right, yeah, they've been very helpful to us. I can't think of any right now.
Well, it seems like you're very devoted to the Brotherhood,
Well,
and continue to be.
I hope to continue. I'm 93, so I don't know how long more I'll be here, but I keep attending the meetings. We're meeting at Chutes and Ladders now, and they've been gracious enough to give us a room in their building until we get back on our feet again.
Do you have an idea when that will be?
Well, it's a tough road to hoe because we purchased the back end of the Sears building, which has a warehouse and two other retail type stores. We want to put our membership thing into one of those retail stores, but we're still in the remodeling phase right now, and we're not sure when we'll be able to continue.
You need another Ebelskiver.
Yeah, we need something.
Well, thank you, Bob. Thank you for visiting with us today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.